What's your message to him? Look at him and tell him what's going to happen.
No message is, I'm just ready for war, ready to win. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be totally different from last time, you know. I've just grown up and I've learning more about myself as a man. So I can't wait to put on a show and become undisputed and just do the business.
Daniel Dubois is ready to end Oleksandr Usyk's reign and claims he'll take the undisputed heavyweight crown in a stunning upset that will forever change the division.
Daniel, just a kind of a prediction for this fight. Obviously, I know you're very confident going into this second bout. How do you see the fight going?
A win.
A win?
Just a win.
And you're not looking for a knockout?
Knockout points, whatever happens, a win. That's my golden ticket. That's my prediction, a win. That's all.
Talk to me about that face-off down there. It kind of reminded me of that face-off you had with AJ when you kind of said, listen, I'm not gonna take a step back, you know? I'm gonna stand up to you a bit, you know? How come you decided to push him?
I was playful, I wouldn't really know.
Daniel Dubois has issued a bold statement ahead of his highly anticipated rematch with Oleksandr Usyk this July, promising to dethrone the Ukrainian legend and claim the undisputed heavyweight crown. The stakes couldn't be higher. For Dubois, it's not just about revenge, but a chance to fulfill a lifelong dream of becoming the undisputed champion of the world. However, with Usyk nearing the end of his illustrious career, this fight is as much about legacy as it is about glory. The two men first faced off in 2023, a fight that left many fans with a bitter taste in their mouths, not because of the action inside the ring, but because of how it all ended. Dubois, who was holding his own against Oleksandr Usyk, found himself in hot water after being penalized for a controversial low blow in the 5th round. The call gave Usyk a breather and ultimately allowed him to recover before stopping Dubois in the 9th round. That night, Dubois felt the sting of a lost opportunity and a sense of unfinished business. It wasn't just the defeat, but the manner in which it occurred that haunted him for months.
And fighting Oleksandr Usyk last time out, he's going to take a lot of positives from that. Even though, you know, minus the low blow, the on the belt line, minus that, Usyk really was having his way with him. But you're going to take that experience of fighting in hostile territory, if you like, a stadium fight against Oleksandr Usyk back then. Since then, he's had 2 big fights in Saudi. He's had the AJ fight in Wembley. So he's going to make that walk July 19th. He's going to make that walk, and there's going to be no fear in making that walk. And I had a really good vantage point of seeing him make the walk for AJ. And I'm telling you now, I don't know what they did to him in the change room, but that guy came out like old school Mike Tyson. He came out just wanting to fight. There was no looking around, there was no smiles. He marched to the ring, and he's gonna march to the ring again. This kid has no fear. Honestly, there's no fear. I wish we could kind of gauge like his heart rate. I think he's perfect right now.
Fast forward to 2025, and Daniel Dubois has undergone a remarkable transformation. Once seen as a raw prospect with plenty of potential but lacking experience, he now stands as a legitimate threat in the heavyweight division. A career-defining knockout of Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September solidified his place as one of the top heavyweights in the world. Now, as the IBF champion, Dubois is preparing for another shot at Usyk, who holds the WBA, WBO, and WBC titles. The rematch is set to take place at Wembley Stadium on July 19th, 2025, and for many, it could very well be Usyk's final fight at the highest level.
I know he's had his defeats, but if you're going to do it, this is the time. You leave everything. You leave everything. You know what I mean?
Never been done before. Never.
Do you think he can do it, Simon?
I've always felt he could do it.
Yeah.
I've always felt that he has the capability of doing it. The thing for me is I think that Daniel Dubois is an irresistible force. I'm just worried that Oleksandr Usyk is an immovable object.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the very, very best version of Daniel Dubois, and maybe Usyk off by 2 or 3%. Dubois wins the fight.
You're exactly right.
If he is to win, no. If he's to, I'm going to pick him to win because I want to. Now that's me going with my heart because he's an Englishman. Who do you think wins the fight?
I still can't see past Oleksandr Usyk. You know, I think we just spoke about, is he getting older or is he getting better? I think the way he lives his life.
Get off the fence. You're gonna win.
I think Usyk.
Usyk.
Yeah.
The shadow of Usyk's career looms large, but Dubois isn't intimidated. He's vocal about his intentions, making it clear on social media that his aim is to take all of Usyk's belts and to do so in dramatic fashion. Dubois' confidence is evident, and unlike the younger, less experienced fighter who faced Usyk in 2023, he has matured significantly. He has become more composed, more tactically aware, and most importantly, he has learned from the mistakes of the past. Now, instead of talking about how ready he was back then, Dubois is focusing on how much he's grown and how the 2025 version of himself is a much more complete fighter.
Top level guy, isn't he? Top level operator. You know, can't take nothing away from him. But yeah, at this level, they're all good. So I just need to be on my A game and focus, get right, and I'll go through him. I'll do the business.
And you know, obviously you fought for your heavyweight title, but this for undisputed against Oleksandr, who is kind of known as the best heavyweight in the world. Will there be an extra bit of pressure?
Yeah, there's always fire in me. I'm always fired up for every fight I fight. So if it was, no matter who I face, with the odds on the line, I'm gonna be extra fired up to win this one and come away with a victory, and you know, just upset the plans again like we did with AJ fight, just what shocked the world.
But is Daniel Dubois ready? The first fight against Usyk came too early in his career, and many critics have pointed out that he wasn't fully prepared. Usyk, who had already conquered the cruiserweight division and unified the heavyweight titles, was at a different level both physically and mentally. In a recent interview, Dubois' trainer, Don Charles, admitted that they were mad to take on Usyk when they did. Their training camp was short and intense, with just 14 weeks to prepare after Dubois had parted ways with his former coach, Shane McGuigan. Charles was trying to teach a new fighter his own boxing philosophy, while Dubois was still learning how to adapt at the top level.
Yeah. What can I say? I can't elaborate enough. I'm very happy. We are very happy. We happen to be sitting on a log of wood, touch wood. Everything's going according to plan. Look, we're experienced now. The first encounter with Usyk in Poland was almost 2 years ago. We're like 5 weeks away from it being 24 months since I started working with Daniel Dubois. You know, so a lot has changed. A lot has changed. So very, very excited. Very, very excited.
However, Charles believes that the Dubois we see today is far more prepared and far more dangerous. His rise since the Usyk fight has been remarkable, and many in the boxing world are beginning to take notice of his improvements. The knockout win over Anthony Joshua was a statement, and it confirmed that Dubois is now capable of competing with the best of the best in the division. His progression from a one-dimensional brawler to a more cerebral and adaptable fighter makes him a much more difficult opponent for Usyk in 2025.
You are ready. We thought as humans we were ready then. Now I believe we're ready. Now I believe Daniel's going to receive the gift that was supposed to be for him 2 years ago. That's my take on it.
Nothing tells the story like time passing, and this is turning into quite the story. So if you look at Daniel in that first fight, away from home, he'd only just got with you as a coach. He was, heading into really the lion's den. No one was really picking him to win. It was limited experience, a huge jump up in levels.
Yep.
But the story now is, I mean, look at the last 3 wins, incredible. He's been with you so much longer. He's at home. He's in familiar surroundings of Wembley Stadium. It's all lining up.
Absolutely.
This big kind of almost spiritual moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, you couldn't write this. You couldn't write it. But it's real, it's happening, it's unfolding.
In the boxing community, opinions about the rematch vary. Legendary coach and analyst Teddy Atlas has been one of the most vocal proponents of Usyk, even while acknowledging Dubois' evolution as a fighter. According to Atlas, Dubois has indeed become a different animal since their first encounter. But even with that growth, Atlas is unwilling to back against Usyk, citing the Ukrainian's remarkable ability to always find a way to win.
Dubois has found himself. He's a different fighter. He's a different animal now. Anyone who thinks that it's the same fight, they're wrong. I can't go against Usyk. I can't. Because the guy, his greatest strength is he always finds a way to win. Always. the amateurs, Olympic gold, cruiserweights, unified heavyweights, goes to London, fights a bigger guy, fights him twice, beats him. Then he goes and fights a bigger guy again, fights him twice. Fury beats him. I mean, the guy knows how to finds a way to win. He's special, but he's getting older. I would have preferred, like I said, I have nothing but admiration for both. I have some maybe extra love towards Usyk for everything he represents for his country, to fight through what I said that he fought through. I love Dubois because he's a great story for people that have been down, that you can get up. Don't give up on yourself. You can find redemption. You can turn it around. He is a great example. But Usyk, I would have loved to see him walk off into the sunset after the last Fury fight. He's getting older. He's been in a lot of tough fights. He had hundreds of amateur fights. This is an unforgiving business. It is. I know it firsthand.
Usyk's career has been defined by his resilience and his ability to overcome challenges, and Atlas believes that Usyk will once again find a way to emerge victorious. Despite his age, Usyk is now 38. Atlas believes the Ukrainian will still have enough in the tank to deal with Dubois' power and newfound confidence.
He's getting better. He's found himself. He's at that place now in his life where he's only going to get better. He believes in himself. He knows what he is now. He knows he can depend on himself. He is more dangerous now than he ever was. He was always a good puncher. But now he's more than just a good puncher. He's a solid man in that ring. It's a dangerous fight for Usyk. It's a very, very, very... And I salute him again. Even though I wish what I wish, I don't hide what I feel. I say it. But I salute him, that son of a gun. He's not stupid. He knows the guy's going to be better. He knows the guy's younger. He knows how dangerous. He knows how he knocked out Joshua. He knows all of that. And what does he say? Give me fight. Something like that.
Give me
along
Daniel.
those lines. Give me Daniel, please. Thank you. Something along those lines. I love Usyk. You gotta love him. You gotta love his attitude. You gotta love the way he always finds a way to win. You gotta love the way he conducts himself, the way he carries himself. Like what? Like a champion. And like I said, you have to have nothing but enormous respect for the other guy, Daniel Dubois.
On the other hand, some analysts, like Johnny Nelson, believe that Usyk will again outclass Dubois, but in a more strategic fashion. Nelson doesn't see it as a fight where one big punch will decide the outcome. Instead, he predicts that Usyk will apply consistent, smart pressure, slowly breaking Dubois down over the course of the fight. Nelson points to Usyk's superior ring IQ and ability to adapt as the factors that will ultimately win him the fight. He feels that Usyk has already figured Dubois out, and that the younger fighter will struggle to find a solution.
The top 5 heavyweights.
The world heavyweight landscape is completely changed massively over the last 2 years. Oleksandr Usyk, he's in a pick and fight. I'll pick him. Might be 2 fights down the line, he's gone. The heavyweight landscape, they're looking for a new star, a new dominant figure, and it could involve Fabio. The boxing snob is out the window now. Moses, wicked fighter, young fighters coming through. You look at how Daniel has all of a sudden his confidence has come up. We'll see how he goes on against Usyk. Again, he may shock the world. So the landscape has changed, which again, it's very hard to predict tomorrow.
How much of a chance do you give Daniel Dubois in comparison to the second AJ fight, the Fury fights?
I think Daniel's performance in this fight will be better than his first fight against Usyk, but I do believe Usyk will put on a better performance and probably stop Daniel. In my opinion, Usyk has forever shown the public that let me blueprint your download your blueprint and I've got your number. He beat Tyson better the second time. He beat AJ better the second time, and both fighters boxed better the second time around. So the only thing Daniel's got now, he's got unbelievable self-belief and confidence that's come since their last fight. So again, we'll just see what's changed.
Prince Naseem Hamed, a former boxing champion, has a different perspective on the first encounter between Usyk and Dubois. Hamed recalls how Dubois' low blow in the 5th round seemed to rattle Usyk in a way that few opponents had ever done. Hamed believes that if Dubois can maintain that same level of ferocity, but this time without fouling, he could have a real chance of defeating Usyk. In his mind, the Ukrainian showed moments of vulnerability, and if Dubois can exploit them, he could pull off the upset.
Fury, AJ next, you think both of them coming off losses? It's the fight we always wanted to see as domestic boxing fans.
Yeah, I suppose that fight is right there, and everybody still wants to see it. But to be honest, we've still got Daniel Dubois, and I was sat next to Daniel Dubois.
Triple D, baby.
Triple D, baby, all day, every day. Let me just tell you this. In my eyes, for me, he's the only one. Triple D is the only one, Daniel Dubois is the only one that's ever hurt Usyk and put him down on the floor, made him think. And he was down there for like 3-4 minutes. So who's to say that once he fights Usyk again, to go out there and absolutely destroy him and bring our belts back to our country like it's supposed to be.
Others, like Dave Allen, who has sparred with Usyk, recognize the champion's technical brilliance, but also see the improvements in Dubois' game. Allen notes that Dubois has become a much more intelligent fighter, no longer relying solely on his punching power. This, he argues, makes the rematch much more competitive than many people expect.
I think Dubois is going to be in. That's my early prediction. I know a lot of people will obviously fancy Usyk, and rightfully so. And as much as I like Dubois and think he's getting better and all the rest of it, I'd like to see Usyk win. I think Usyk's a great fella and a great fighter, but I think Dubois will win.
Ricky Hatton, a veteran of British boxing, also sees Dubois as a much more dangerous fighter today. He recalls how Dubois' defeat to Joe Joyce in 2023 was a major setback, but one that spurred him on to develop his skills. Dubois' subsequent victories have shown that he is more than capable of competing with the very best, and Hatton believes that the rematch with Usyk will be one of the most intriguing heavyweight contests in recent memory.
Dubois, what do you make of that fight, the rematch?
I think it's the best fight. I think they're the best two heavyweights in the world, and there was a bit of controversy with the last time, which goes with the grain in boxing, doesn't it? A bit of controversy, but no, I think Daniel's got a better chance than he had the first time. Yeah, what with the win off Joshua, that his confidence is massively up. Well, when he fought Usyk last time, he come off the defeat from Joyce, and but now he's absolutely flying. He's got as good a chance. Better chance than he had the first time around, I think.
Derek Chisora, who has fought both men, strikes a more cautious note. While he acknowledges Dubois' progress, he emphasizes just how difficult it is to beat someone like Usyk. Chisora praises Usyk's composure and his ability to stay focused under pressure. While he doesn't rule out Dubois' chances entirely, he leans towards Usyk based on his consistency and track record at the highest level.
Derek, in regards to yourself, are you going to just sit back and see what happens with Dubois and Usyk first?
Yes, because I want to sit down and watch it. So, give a shout to Daniel. Good luck anyway. You'll be fighting a guy who's very on point. So, I'll be watching.
Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who faced Dubois in a high-profile bout, believes that Usyk's condition will be key in the rematch. Miller recognizes the improvements Dubois has made, but also wonders if Usyk has lost a step after his grueling battles with Tyson Fury. Depending on how Usyk performs, Miller believes the rematch could go either way. However, he personally leans toward Dubois, pulling off the upset, citing the champion's age and potential wear and tear from his previous fights.
I think he's definitely graduated since our fight. Can Dubois pull it off? I think he definitely can. It depends on how much Usyk has in the tank, if he can outwit Dubois. I think it's a great fight regardless. And the best man is gonna win, what I mean? I want my rematch with Dubois. I'm gonna fuck him up, But it's weird, man. Dubois is the only person that can make me want to hate him and then like him, like literally within 30 seconds of my brain, like I want to kill this motherfucking I like Dubois. It's weird. He's one of the only fighters that actually do that to me. But I realized that if you actually meet Dubois and talk to him, there's a reason why you have that love-hate sympathy with him. You know what I'm trying to say? So all power to Dubois. You know what I mean? hopes he pulls it off in many ways and give him a goddamn rematch.
Fraser Clark believes Daniel Dubois has evolved significantly since their first encounter with Oleksandr Usyk, noting that Dubois is now a more refined and strategic fighter. While Clark acknowledges that Dubois' knockout power is still a major weapon, he emphasizes that defeating someone as technically gifted as Usyk requires more than just raw strength. He stresses that Dubois will need a well-crafted strategy and mental sharpness to overcome Usyk's superior tactics.
It gives a lot more. It's a different Dubois. It's a different fight. I think he gives a lot more problem. I think he's got a lot more confidence. I think he's starting to realise when he hits things, things fall over. You know, if he hits them often enough and clean enough, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're Usyk or whoever else. I know he's a tough man, Usyk, but if Daniel hits you often enough and hard enough, you break. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. Saying that, I know he's in great form and that, but this Usyk, mate, he's the real deal, mate. So no one just get giddy and get too excited about Daniel, mate. We're talking about the real deal, and Oleksandr Usyk. When he needs to be tough and tough, and when he needs to be super smart, he's that as well. But I think Daniel, with the wave of confidence he's got, would cause him more problems now than he did before, definitely.
Chris Algieri shares a similar sentiment, highlighting Dubois' growth not just in terms of physical ability, but in terms of his mindset and discipline. Algieri points out that Dubois is no longer driven solely by the desire for revenge, but is now a much more controlled and composed fighter. His dominant performances against top-tier opponents, like Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller, are seen by Algieri as proof of Dubois' maturation, both mentally and physically. Algieri believes this evolution could be crucial in the rematch with Usyk, particularly in a high-pressure scenario where composure is key.
But the narrative is much better for the Dubois rematch. You've got the fact that they fought, and then since then Dubois has been on a tear, beating guys that he was the underdog against, Ergovich, and then Anthony Joshua, of course. You know, the guy has like really revamped his entire career, turned it around, gone from a guy that people saw as a quitter to being potentially the most dangerous man in the world. So you've got this narrative now that Dubois is a different guy, so this rematch will be different. Also, you have the fact that Usyk, in the ring after his win over Tyson Fury, Dubois came into the ring, challenged him, and Usyk said, Your Excellency, Turkey, make the fight with Dubois. He's a man of his word. That guy says something, there's a good chance it's going to happen. So I believe the narrative is there, you know, for this fight, obviously, and this is one of the reasons why it's being made.
Including Filip Hrgović, one of the men Dubois stopped during his run of form. Hrgović knows firsthand what it's like to share the ring with the British heavyweight. He went into their bout as the favorite, but was overwhelmed by Dubois' pressure and eventually stopped due to cuts in the 8th round. Watching from the outside now, Hrgović sees a very different Dubois compared to the one who faced Usyk the first time. He noted that the Brit has clearly improved, not just in power, but in confidence and durability. Even Dubois' chin, which had previously been questioned, now seems much stronger to Hrgović, though he still gives Usyk a slight edge due to his technical abilities. Hrgović warned that the rematch would be far more competitive this time.
Okay. Who are you thinking? Usyk, Dubois?
Well, look, I think this now totally different fight than first fight. In first fight, Dubois was outboxed, outclassed, and now I think he's definitely different type of fighter, and he had 3 great wins, and his confidence is much better, much bigger. He did something with his chin. I don't know what, but his chin is better, and he's totally different fighter. But so I expect totally different fight and much harder fight for Usyk than the first fight. I still favor Usyk slightly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Dubois win that.
As the fight draws closer, the boxing world is split on who will emerge victorious. Usyk's technical brilliance and track record make him the favorite, but Dubois' growth as a fighter, his power, and his confidence suggest that he will be a much tougher challenge than last time. The rematch promises to be a thrilling clash of styles, with everything on the line for both men. For Usyk, it's about maintaining his place at the top and continuing his legendary career. For Dubois, it's about proving that he belongs in the conversation with the best, and that revenge and glory are within his reach.